Hi, scholars. Mr. Shaw here again. Today's art lesson, we're going to be learning about a really wonderful artist whose name is Kara Walker. Here's Kara Walker inside of an art museum with some of her very, very large paintings. Now, Kara Walker is an interesting artist for us to study this week because last time we learned how to draw the figure. We learned how to draw those simple shapes that make up a shape of a person, and then how to add details to make them look more like the real person, to look more like that figure that we want to have in our artwork. But if you look at Kara Walker's paintings, you might notice that there are no details. It's just the shape of a person. And Kara Walker painted her figures completely black. They almost look like the shadow of what it was she was trying to draw. And that's actually a very special type of art called a silhouette. Now, a silhouette, everyone say that word with me. It's okay, don't be shy. All right. A silhouette is actually just the shape, the outline of something that has been completely filled in with just one color. Now, silhouettes tend to be, or most often are found, just painted in black so that they actually look like a shadow. Now, in this painting by Kara Walker, this is actually just a small piece of one of her larger paintings. We can see two figures here. We can see two shapes of people. But is that all we see? Do you see any details that might tell a little bit of a story? Take a look at those people. What does it look like they're about to do? Or what does it look like they're doing already? Did you say they're dancing? Do they look like they're dancing in their living room or dancing on a street corner listening to some music? Maybe someone is playing in their backyard? Or might they be at a fancy dance? Can you see the details that Kara Walker added to make that gentleman look like he's wearing a suit with a top hat and a tie? Can you see that woman's beautiful dress and the ribbon in her hair and the way that she's standing? We can see a bracelet around her wrist, and it looks like she might even be barefoot, which sometimes is a little easier to dance. Now, if you look really, really carefully, you might see something very silly on the back of the woman's dress. I can see what looks like the head of a chicken, as if that woman has a barnyard animal riding on the back of her dress while she dances with this well-dressed gentleman. This is kind of a funny story, and Kara Walker is telling us a story with very, very little information. It's just the shadows of those figures, just the outline, and then she completely filled it in black. And that technique is called a silhouette. And there are lots of things you can do with silhouettes. Sometimes you could draw a bigger, wider scene, like this picture, also by Kara Walker, that looks like it's happening at a swamp next to some water. We see a woman and a gentleman about to kiss. We see a child who has captured a duck from the water, and it looks like a woman floating in a boat. Sometimes silhouettes can give you a lot of information, not just about figures, but also about the setting. Take a look at this image painted by Kara Walker, the silhouette of a little girl who seems to be dancing in the forest or maybe in a swamp or a jungle. And we can see silhouettes of animals like a fox and a bunny rabbit and some birds flying. I think I even see a butterfly there in the corner. But silhouettes are used all over the place and they're used all the time. Sometimes silhouettes are used to represent objects that most of us would recognize the shape of. When I look at this silhouette, it reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Monster Inc. And if you recognize that shape, you might recognize one of the main characters from that movie, Mike Wazowski. So even though we didn't see the details of his teeth and his eyes and his individual fingers, seeing that silhouetted shape gave us a clue about who he is. And if you do a nice job drawing your silhouettes today, people will be able to recognize what it is you're drawing without all those extra details in the middle by drawing just the shadow shape. Now, silhouettes are often used in some of my favorite types of art, comic books. This is the cover of a Batman comic, and you can see the silhouette of the city. You can see what looks like tall black buildings on either side of the page, and we can see that silhouette of Batman climbing his rope up the side of the building. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating silhouettes. Now, your silhouettes could be black, just like the artist Kara Walker, just like some of those other examples I've shown you, or like this wonderful mural painted by artist Aaron Douglas. Your silhouettes could be any color you want. I see silhouettes in this image that are the outlines of figures in pink and purple and dark blue, but they're still recognizable as the shapes of people. I can't see their eyes or their mouth or their individual fingers. I can't see those details. But the outside shape of those figures, that shadowy shape, that silhouette, is what really makes this picture special. So in just a moment, I'm going to show you how you can start with those simple shapes of drawing a figure that we learned last time, and then color in our entire drawing with a single color to create a special kind of artwork called a silhouette. Stay tuned, and I'll jump into Seesaw and show you how to do this. All right, scholars, now that I'm here in Seesaw, I can find today's art assignment. It's titled Art, Kara Walker, and I'm going to click on that green Add Response button. I'm going to choose a sample student so I don't do your work for you. Now, when you're presented with all of these options, today we are going to be drawing, so make sure you click on that pencil. And today, remember, we're drawing a silhouette. That means that you're going to be drawing just the colored in outline of a person or maybe some objects like trees. You could have animals in your picture. I'm going to do one pretty quickly, but before I start anything else, I want to remember how to draw a figure. Now, last time we were together, we learned how to draw a figure by looking at a mannequin. So if I wanted to draw a story using silhouettes, if I wanted to draw a picture, I would start with a figure. Now, I don't have to have a lot of details at first because remember, I'm going to be coloring all of this in. So I'm going to draw the shape of a person. I'm thinking of that mannequin that I drew last time, Wooden Steve, with the ovals for the arms, a little circle for the hand. I'm going to have this arm going in this direction. I'm actually going to have my person holding something. Now, in my story picture, in my silhouette, I want this person to be walking. So I'm going to draw the legs in kind of a walking position here. And it's okay that I'm overlapping my lines a little bit because remember, I'm going to be filling all of this in with black. So it doesn't matter what else I draw in here. I could give them a goofy face and they could be wearing a t-shirt with a heart on it. But to be a silhouette, this person actually has to be colored all the way in. So I'm going to go ahead and use my marker tool. Actually, I might choose a slightly thicker marker here so it's a little easier for me to color all of that in black. Because remember, that's the difference between a silhouette and other types of drawing. A silhouette is completely filled in. Now you can use black as your color like I'm doing. Most silhouettes are in black, but if you'd like to do this using another solid color, you really can do it with any color you'd like. Just make sure that whatever it is you're drawing is filled in completely with that one single color. Now, this looks like a pretty interesting person who's walking, but now I want to add some details to make my story a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to add a little detail like this, kind of hanging down as if this person is wearing maybe a coat. So I can have the sleeve hanging down a little bit, and it looks like a long jacket by adding that shape down here. Then I'm going to give my person another detail that might tell a little bit of a story, just to make this picture a little bit more interesting. Can you tell what I'm doing? What do you think the weather might be like where this person is? Could this person also maybe be wearing a hat to make this experience a little bit more comfortable for whoever that is? Perhaps this person is even wearing some boots. And I can just thicken up that shape a little bit. And now, even though you can't see the details of the face, even though you can't see every single little tiny detail, you could probably tell that this person is wearing boots and maybe a rain jacket and holding an umbrella. But why would this person be going out in the rain? Well, if I wanted to do kind of an interesting story, perhaps I could do a silhouette like this. I'm going to draw some shapes here. You might be able to recognize what I'm up to pretty soon. This is something that people who own one of these might recognize, that sometimes, even if it's raining outside and you own a dog, you still have to take your dog for a walk. Now notice I didn't draw the doggy's face. I didn't draw the dog's eyes or all the individual hairs. It's just the shape of the dog. It's just the shadow of that dog. Does it look like anything is missing? If you own a dog, you should probably know that anytime you walk your dog, you should have your dog on a leash. And maybe we'll give that dog something exciting to be looking for. Maybe something that a dog might be really, really interested in. This will give my story a little bit more of a punch here, because when you look at this, you might recognize this shape as something you see in your neighborhood on the street. It's a fire hydrant, and dogs love fire hydrants. So just by drawing the shapes of things and coloring them all the way in to create a silhouette, this is still a pretty interesting story, and you can still tell what's going on in my picture, and you can see what the weather is like, you can tell they're outside, and you can determine the story based on what's happening. Now, once you've finished your picture, always remember to click that green arrow all the way in the corner. That will send your work to me so I can take a look at it, and then I can let you know what I think. I can't wait to see your drawings, and I'll see you next time.